The Bills are entering one of those quiet turning points that nobody around the league notices at first, until suddenly it matters in a huge way later in the season. Because while everybody keeps talking about the big names and the obvious stars on this roster, something happened over the last few days that honestly says a lot about where this team is heading behind the scenes. On one side, you've got a group of players walking into rookie minicamp, knowing this could literally be their last shot to prove they belong in the NFL. And if you're a Bills fan, you already know this organization has a history of finding guys nobody expected to matter and turning them into real pieces of the roster. But at the exact same time, Buffalo also made a couple roster decisions that quietly sent a pretty strong message about competition, trust, and what Brandon Beane is trying to build heading into this season. And honestly, one of these situations could end up helping the Bills more than people realize right now, while the other one might have fans seriously debating whether this team is making the right call. There's a lot to unpack here because some familiar names are fighting for their careers, some veterans are trying to stay alive in this league, and Buffalo may have already revealed more about their offseason plans than they intended. So stick around, because once we connect all the dots here, these two stories together paint a very interesting picture about where the Bills stand heading into the summer. And hey, if you're a real Bills fan who lives and breathes this team every day, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Bills Nation Update. We're still a new channel trying to hit our first 4,000 subscribers, and every single member of Bills Mafia helping build this thing means a lot. So let's start with the rookie minicamp situation, because this is exactly the kind of story Bills fans should pay attention to, even if these names aren't making national headlines yet. Every single year, there are players who walk into rookie minicamp, basically treated like camp bodies, and every once in a while, one of them changes his life in 2 days. Bills fans literally just watched that happen with Joe Andreessen. The guy came in as a local tryout player, earned a contract, fought his way through camp, and somehow made the 53-man roster for his hometown team. That story is still unreal when you think about it. So naturally, when Buffalo brought 31 tryout players into Orchard Park for rookie minicamp on May 8th and 9th, everybody immediately started wondering who the next hidden gem could be. And what's interesting is how many different types of players Brandon Beane and this coaching staff are evaluating right now. They're not just looking for stars. They're looking for toughness, versatility, depth, special teams value, developmental upside, and all the stuff that matters when you're trying to survive an NFL season. You've got local names like University at Buffalo kicker Jack Howes, quarterback Taquan Robertson, edge rusher Kobe Stewart, and offensive lineman Trevor Brock all trying to make impressions. Syracuse running back Will Nixon also got an opportunity. Those local tryout stories always hit differently, because you know these guys grew up dreaming about this exact moment. But the four names that really stand out here are Jermaine Burton, Prince Dorba, Jacob Johnson, and Sage Ryan. And honestly, the biggest storyline has to be Jermaine Burton. This dude was the number 80 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft by the Cincinnati Bengals. Less than 2 years later, he's already fighting to stay in the league. That's crazy when you think about how talented he actually is. Burton played 14 games as a rookie for Cincinnati, but things completely fell apart afterward because of maturity concerns and professionalism issues. During the 2025 season, he was inactive every single game. Not injured, just inactive. That tells you the Bengals completely lost trust in him. But here's the thing that makes this interesting for Buffalo. The talent is still there. At Georgia, Burton already looked like a serious SEC receiver. Then he transferred to Alabama and led the team in receiving yards in both 2022 and 2023. You don't accidentally do that in the SEC, especially at Alabama. The ability is real. So now the question becomes whether Sean McDermott and this locker room believe they can get him focused and mature enough to actually maximize that talent. And honestly, Bills fans should probably have mixed feelings here. Because on one hand, this team has built its identity around culture, accountability, and professionalism. That's been one of the biggest reasons Buffalo became a consistent contender in the first place. But on the other hand, if Burton somehow gets his head right, this could become one of those low-risk moves that looks genius later. Buffalo's receiving room still has questions behind the top options, and adding another explosive athlete for almost no financial risk is exactly the kind of gamble smart teams sometimes take. Then there's Prince Dorba, and this one feels sneaky important too. Before the draft, edge rusher was absolutely one of Buffalo's biggest concerns. The Bills did address it by drafting TJ Parker in the second round, but let's be real, you can never have enough pass rushers in this league. Dorba spent 3 years contributing at Arizona State after transferring from Texas. He's a little undersized at 6'2", which immediately reminds some people of Javon Solomon, the Bills' 5th-round pick from last year. Now, Solomon was way more productive in college and has better arm length, so nobody's saying Dorba is guaranteed to become that type of player, but Buffalo clearly sees traits worth developing. And honestly, this is exactly the kind of competition the Bills need at the bottom of the roster. Young edge rushers pushing each other during camp matters. Especially when the AFC is loaded with quarterbacks, you have to pressure consistently if you want any chance at a Super Bowl run. Then you've got Jacob Johnson, and this one might actually be more important than people realize. The fullback role in Buffalo suddenly became wide open after Reggie Gilliam left for the New England Patriots. That's a bigger loss than casual fans probably think because Gilliam quietly did so many dirty work things for this offense and special teams unit. So now the Bills are evaluating options. They already signed undrafted rookie Jackson Acker and also have Ben Van Samaren, the former linebacker, converted into a fullback project. But bringing in Jacob Johnson tells you they still want serious competition there. And Johnson is not some random camp body. This guy has played 77 NFL games since 2019 with the Patriots, Raiders, Giants, and Texans. That experience matters. At 31 years old, he understands blocking schemes, physicality, situational football, and special teams responsibilities. Plus, there's an obvious connection here, because Buffalo has always respected the type of physical football New England played when Johnson was there early in his career. You can absolutely picture Joe Brady finding ways to use a true fullback in short yardage packages or goal line situations. And finally, Sage Ryan might quietly be one of the most intriguing names of the entire minicamp. Why? Versatility. And if there's one thing defensive coordinator Jim Leonhard loves, it's versatile defensive backs. Ryan played 5 years in the SEC, spending time at both LSU and Ole Miss. During his college career, he lined up at cornerback, safety, and nickel. That flexibility is valuable in today's NFL because offenses constantly force defenses into matchup adjustments. Last season at Ole Miss, Ryan appeared in all 15 games and started 8 at safety. Before that, he played 43 games at LSU against elite competition every single week. That experience matters a lot, especially in a Bills defense that's clearly trying to stay flexible and disguise coverages more effectively moving forward. And honestly, when you step back and look at all 4 of these players together, you can see exactly what Buffalo is searching for right now. Upside with Burton, developmental pass rush with Dorba, veteran toughness with Jacob Johnson, defensive versatility with Sage Ryan. None of these guys are guaranteed anything. Most probably won't even make the roster. That's just reality. But every year, 1 or 2 unexpected names force their way into the conversation. And if there's one thing Brandon Beane has proven over time, it's that he's always willing to take chances on overlooked talent if he believes there's something worth developing. But while these players were fighting for opportunities at rookie minicamp, the Bills were also making another set of roster decisions that honestly revealed something very interesting about how this organization currently views the team heading into the season. And one of those moves immediately led another NFL team to jump all over a former Bills player the second he became available. And that brings us to the second story because the Bills made a series of roster moves over the last couple of days that honestly tell us a lot about what Brandon Beane and this front office are thinking right now. The biggest headline was cornerback MJ Devonshire getting claimed off waivers by the Green Bay Packers almost immediately after Buffalo released him. NFL insider Tom Pelissero reported that the Packers picked up Devonshire along with tight end Luke Lakey, who had been waived by the Houston Texans. And the timing here is important because Buffalo only moved on from Devonshire after making room on the 90-man offseason roster to sign former Kansas City Chiefs pass rusher Mike Dana. So basically, the Bills saw Dana as a more important addition than keeping Devonshire around for camp competition. And honestly, you can understand both sides of this. On one hand, Devonshire never actually appeared in a game for Buffalo. The Bills signed him to the practice squad back on December 9th, then later gave him a reserve futures contract after the season. Before that, he'd already bounced around with the Las Vegas Raiders, Carolina Panthers, and Baltimore Ravens after being selected in the 7th round of the 2024 NFL Draft. so this wasn't exactly a player deeply established in Buffalo's plans. But at the same time, it's interesting because the Bills clearly liked him for a while. Joe Buscaglia from The Athletic revealed that Buffalo showed pre-draft interest in Devonshire coming out of Pittsburgh in 2024. Buscaglia even mentioned his nearly 33-inch arm length and how the Bills possibly viewed him as an outside boundary cornerback prospect. And if you know this defense, that makes sense. Buffalo has always valued length and physical traits at corner, especially on the boundary. Devonshire also brought good experience from both Kentucky and Pittsburgh during his college career, and the Bills clearly saw enough developmental upside to keep tracking him even after passing on him in the draft. But now Green Bay gets the opportunity instead. And honestly, this is just part of life in the NFL sometimes. Teams constantly cycle through developmental players at the back end of the roster, especially during the offseason when every single roster spot matters. The more important part of this story might actually be who Buffalo chose to prioritize instead, because Mike Dana is not some random depth signing. This is a player who helped the Kansas City Chiefs win back-to-back Super Bowls. He's tough, experienced, understands playoff football, and immediately gives the Bills more rotational help in the pass rush. And let's be honest, after what Bills fans have watched happen against elite AFC quarterbacks year after year, adding more defensive line depth is never a bad thing. You can tell this organization still believes improving the pass rush is one of the keys to finally getting over the hump. But the roster moves didn't stop there. Buffalo also signed veteran tight end Shane Zylstra and released kicker Maddox Trujillo. And this move might actually say something huge about the Bills' confidence level in Tyler Bass. Because right now, Bass is officially the only kicker left on the roster. That's important, especially after all the criticism, injuries, and questions surrounding him recently. Bills general manager Brandon Beane already made it pretty clear earlier this offseason that the organization still believed in Bass, and this move basically reinforces that publicly. And honestly, Bills Mafia probably has mixed emotions about it. Because we've all seen Tyler Bass hit massive kicks for this team since Buffalo drafted him in the 6th round back in 2020. The numbers overall are still solid. 131 made field goals on 155 attempts, plus 264 extra points made out of 274. Even in 2025, despite everything going on physically, he still went 24 for 29 on field goals. But fans also remember the misses, especially in huge moments. And then came the injury situation. Bass ended up missing the entire 2025 season after dealing with a hip and groin injury that eventually required surgery in December. So now the Bills are betting that a healthy Tyler Bass can return to being the reliable version they originally invested in. Releasing Maddox Trujillo without keeping another kicker for competition definitely sends a message. Buffalo is choosing stability here. Now maybe another kicker eventually gets brought in later during camp. That's always possible. But as things stand right now, this organization is standing behind Bass. And honestly, that takes some confidence from Brandon Beane. The Shane Zylstra signing is also interesting in its own way because Buffalo clearly keeps searching for tight end depth and roster flexibility behind Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. Zylstra brings veteran experience and gives the offense another body entering OTAs and minicamp competition. And speaking of that, the Bills' offseason schedule is about to ramp up quickly now. Voluntary OTAs are scheduled for May 18th and 19th, May 21st, May 26th through 28th, and June 1st through 4th. Then mandatory minicamp runs from June 9th through 11th, so we're entering the phase where roster battles really start taking shape. And honestly, when you connect this story with everything happening at rookie minicamp, it paints a very clear picture of where Buffalo is mentally as an organization right now. This team is still searching for hidden contributors, searching for depth, searching for toughness, searching for pass rush help, searching for players who fit the culture, and searching for the final pieces that can help push this roster from contender to champion. Some guys are getting opportunities, some are losing them. Some are fighting for their NFL lives, and others are being trusted despite criticism and uncertainty. That's the reality of where the Bills are right now heading into another massive season. And honestly, when you put both of these stories together, it really feels like the Bills are entering one of the most important stretches of the offseason. Not because of flashy headlines, but because of the smaller decisions that quietly shape what this roster becomes by September. On one side, you've got players like Jermaine Burton, Prince Dorba, Jacob Johnson, Sage Ryan, Jack Howes, Taquan Robertson, Kobe Stewart, Trevor Brock, and Will Nixon, all trying to prove they deserve a real NFL opportunity. Some are chasing redemption, some are chasing development, and some are just trying to survive in the league one more year. And on the other side, Buffalo is making very clear roster decisions with guys like MJ, Devonshire, Mike Dana, Shane Zylstra, Maddox Trujillo, and Tyler Bass. That tells you this front office is still evaluating everything. Nothing is being handed out for free right now. The Bills are trying to create competition at almost every level of the roster, while also doubling down on experience, versatility, and trust inside the locker room. And honestly, I think that says a lot about how Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott view this team entering the season. They clearly still believe this roster can compete for a championship. You don't bring in experienced guys like Mike Dana or keep investing in pass rush depth if you think your window is closing. But at the same time, they also know this team still has unanswered questions. Can the defensive line consistently affect elite quarterbacks? Can Tyler Bass bounce back mentally and physically after the injury? Can Buffalo uncover another surprise contributor like Joe Andreessen? Can players with talent but baggage, like Jermaine Burton, actually fit this culture? Those are real questions right now. And honestly, that's what makes this part of the offseason so interesting for Bills fans who truly follow the team closely. The biggest future contributors aren't always the names everybody talks about in April. Sometimes they're the overlooked guys grinding at rookie minicamp or the quiet veteran signings nobody pays attention to until November. That's why these moves matter. Because the difference between falling short again and finally reaching the Super Bowl sometimes comes down to depth, competition, and finding unexpected contributors at exactly the right moment. And Bills Mafia knows this team is close, really close. That's why every roster decision feels bigger now. So now I want to hear from you guys. Which player from rookie minicamp are you most interested in watching? Do you think Jermaine Burton deserves another chance? Are you confident in Tyler Bass being the only kicker on the roster? And what do you think about the Bills bringing in Mike Dana while moving on from MJ Devonshire? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I already know Bills Mafia is going to have strong opinions about all of this. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe to Bills Nation Update. This channel is still brand new, and we're trying to reach our first 4,000 subscribers with real Bills fans who love honest conversations about this team every single day. Appreciate all of you for being here, and as always, go Bills.